You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB. Crouch, hold, engage. Weekend Sport with Jason Pine and GJ Gardner-Holmes. New Zealand's most trusted home builder, News Talk ZB.
Just on 16-2, James McOnie, as usual on a Sunday. Super Rugby title town, Hamilton, James.
Oh, you can dream it, but it's I've already been hurt once, burnt in fact, last year, etched into the memory. I would kill for Asafa Almua's boots, but no.
I know, how good! I know, amazing.
But last year, all I did was get a bit of an interesting conversation with the Barrett family, who were loving it, and then Razor did a breakdance in front of me, and I struggled with that, I've got to say.
Well, there's no danger of that this year, and I don't really. Neither Vern Cotter or Clayton McMillan strikes me as the type to do the worm or a head spin or whatever they're calling it these days. I have to say that I was so impressed with the Chiefs yesterday. I thought they were terrific against the Canes.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was another step up, wasn't it? You know, it felt like they might have been peaking at the right time. At least being able to pick a team that they felt was their first 15, but that game was hectic, brutal, fragmented even, but highly entertaining. And two things, let's get it out of the way. Wallace Satiti had a blinder and the TMO was blind. But we should start with Wallace, because before that game he was a bolter for the All Blacks. Now he's going to be hard to leave out. And probably like you, I was a big fan of his dad, Samuel Satiti, who played mainly blindside for Wellington and the Canes. Yes. And of course, the captain Manu Samoa. And the one thing I can tell you about the Satiti family, love to defend, but they're faster than you think.
Well, Wallace Satiti, when he sprinted away to set up that try for Daniel Rona, my goodness, you might have heard me say, I mean, he's like Sione Luaki, isn't he, in the way that he plays?
Yes, yeah, exactly. He's got great feet. And I mean, it was just a vital play. The game was close then, wasn't it? Was it 2014 when he
matched
that? So,
yep.
Geordie was in the gap. I mean, it was just all or nothing play from Wallace. But back to the TMO briefly. I'm not here to. I mean, I thought Summer Penny's tackle on Finau's tackle on TJ Perenara looked like it was sort of head to shoulder blade contact, maybe head to head, but like it's debatable. But then after TJ Perenara was defending upright and clashed heads with Satiti, as you've touched on. Not even penalise that, I think shows that the whole system's a bit broken there. And I even reckon Luke Jacobson's late tackle on Geordie Barrett was a penalty only. But hey, you know, it's easy to talk about it now after the Chiefs won.
Well, the fact we are talking about it just proves the point. Hey, just back to the number 8s then. Are we talking about Sotutu or Satiti? Is that what we're talking? Is that what we're talking here? You should come up with a song about that.
I know, that's the sort of song that could get me cancelled in some circles, but let's do it anyway. I think, could you do it to Kokomo? So tutu, Satiti, oh, the pretty, you know, like that sort of thing. You need to give me some time, but I'll come up with something for you.
No, I gave you 10. I gave you 10 seconds, and you've already come up with a hook. Magnificent.
Kokomo, yeah. So I think, like, what summed the game up for me was Peter Larkai running the ball back so fast and then slipping so that his head hit with Naitoa Arkoi in the knee. And it was so out of control. But the referee couldn't do anything about it. It was just madness at that point. And so the intensity is what I guess I loved about that game. A great advertisement for the game.
Would the Chiefs be your favourite team of all the teams you follow?
Yes. Piney, I think I sent you a little question saying, who's your top 4? Because for me, I think, and every listener out there, if you're in your car or wherever you are, thinking, who are the teams that, you know, I will make sure I watch, or that it cares, it affects my day, and the Chiefs are right up there with me in my, for me in my top 4, with Waikato Rugby, men and women, Chiefs, Waikato, Auckland University Rugby Clubs up there in my top 4, and probably Hamilton Boys High, my old school, mainly rugby, and possibly rowing. And so at this time of the year, it's quite hard to, they're all sort of, well, 3 of those teams are all in action. So it's quite tough. Who's your top 4, Piney?
Well, I think the Phoenix have become my top one, both men and women. I just don't ever see a time where I would miss a game for any good reason from those two. The Hurricanes I've watched since '96 and will until the end of time, I feel. My football club is Tawa AFC, and I would never miss a game of the Tawa College Senior A basketball team, mainly because my son's in that team. So it would be, parentally irresponsible for me to miss one of their games.
Oh, I thought you chose that because maybe you were, known for your impressive slam dunks in the early '90s. But hey, it's all right, mate. That's very. I actually think that there's, I love the Wellington Phoenix as well, and the Warriors, and various teams from Te Awamutu. But sometimes there's only so much you can do. Like even the Black Caps are playing, and the Euros have started. So I really need to thank the Black Caps for bowing out of the picture.
Yeah, well, it gives you a bit more time. I mean, I don't know. How many people do you reckon are getting up on Tuesday morning at 2:30 to watch the Black Caps play Papua New Guinea and would stick out the entire game from 2:30 to, let's say, 4:30 Tuesday morning?
Well, I know of one, and that is Mike Lane from the ACC, so he will be commentating that on Sky Sport 59.
Wonderful.
So he's also said anyone else who gets up and calls in can commentate with him, so he's desperate at the moment, and so if you care about that sort of thing, get up and watch the game of Mike Lane.
Any thoughts on? I mean, we haven't got a long time to unpack it all, but I kind of feel like, I said this in the first hour, you probably weren't listening, you're probably doing something far more important, but I think the T20 side should sit off to the side of New Zealand cricket in terms of the central contracts. Let's just have a team of players who are used to playing T20, play all around the world, kind of renegades, Neesham and Munro and Bolt and all of these guys, and that can be your New Zealand Black Caps T20 team.
Exactly. I think we should have never lost Corey Anderson either, should we? I mean,
yes.
Why? I mean, he's still a Kiwi player playing around the world like Trent Bolt is now, and like a lot of our players pop up in the IPL. So who cares? Why do we have to lose our talent like that? And, I mean, look, I think they've made some really dubious calls with contract priority. There's a secret list. Nobody knows it except for the cricketers and in New Zealand cricket, and I think Gary Stead and some of the NZ cricket people have put some of their favourites high up on that list, which has forced people, over the course of the past decade I'm talking, forced people like Colin Munro, Martin Guptill, Mitchell McClenaghan, they've all been sent, and Corey Anderson, they've all been sent into exile, and I mean, it is a bit like you say, it should be like the Sevens team, separate skills, separate contracts, and just pick the best people, and I think we wouldn't have this problem at all.
And to finish, what's the latest in the Caitlin Clark ongoing Olympic snub drama / landscape with her?
Yes, Caitlin Clark. Let's talk about it. Before I do get into that, I was just going to say George Bell, Ricky Riccitelli, or Kurt Eklund.
Good.
It's a shootout between those three.
Yes, good.
Kurt lost a lot of weight through illness this year, so he struggled to get back to a hooker's playing weight. But probably George might be at the head there. But yes, Caitlin Clark. She was snubbed from the Olympics team, but Paul Pierce, the Celtics great, has come out and said, well, why don't they actually pick Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, who they've sort of had this feud with, they're the two young players, put them in the team and just make it so blockbuster and see if together as teammates they can end the feud and bring harmony to the force. And I love that idea. And also Serena Williams is coming out and supporting Clark and saying, the only reason why people criticise you is because they can't do what you do. So, I mean, it doesn't matter where you look. Her name is mentioned all across the American media. She's a phenom and changing women's basketball, I think, for the better.
Satiti, Sotutu, ooh, we're gonna beat you. Is that any good or not really?
That's good. Yes, Piney. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, God. What a shambles this has turned into.
Satiti, watching you is such a treaty. Like that kind of thing. But I think the beat you is better. I think that's good.
Oh, no, mate, you're the wordsmith when it comes to these things. Wonderful to chat, James. Thanks, mate. James McOnie. Big part of our Sundays. One of my favourite times of the week.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.